Map testing is behind us until January when they force us to do it again. We have a tentative return date for in-person education in November, unless of course they change their minds about that, and we're on the verge of shifting into our internship schedules on Wednesdays. But not this Wednesday because you're off. It has been a weird couple of weeks, so I wanted to slow it down for just a moment here and go over some important things we've talked about before we move forward. We're still focusing on our class themes. Do you remember what they both were? Well, one of our themes is that all power comes from having a good story, and we briefly talked about the Roman Empire and Emperor Caesar Augustus. Augustus got his power by being the adopted son of Julius Caesar. They were really nephew and uncle, but by claiming Augustus as his own son, Julius assured that connection would be solidified, and that the story of his adoptive father would lend power to his name, whatever it happened to be at the time. The second theme we talked about was that every act of creation is also an act of destruction, and every act of destruction is also an act of creation. The two go hand in hand. The destruction of the Roman Empire created the opportunity for the Catholic Church to become the most powerful force in Western Europe. The exploding population and widening gap between the wealthy and the poor created the environment which allowed the Black Death to sweep through Europe. The absolute devastation of millions of lives lost during that pandemic created a new world into which the Renaissance evolved. These connections are at the heart of this course. No part of history happens completely independently of another. Every event or action causes some sort of reaction, although we don't always see that while it's happening. Someday in the future, people will look back at this era of human existence much like we look back on the Middle Ages. They will judge us the same way Petrarch judged hundreds of years using one foul swoop of his pen, with those words, the Dark Ages. I don't know if we're the light after a long darkness or if we are the setting sun on an otherwise luminous time, and I doubt that I will be really able to tell during my lifetime. But someday, long after me, someone will likely decide. It is with that in mind that we move on towards the end of the Middle Ages and into the city that some say gave the Renaissance its hope and its heart. It's my favorite place that I've never actually been to, Florence, Italy. Today we will learn a little about the Italian peninsula, the bit shaped kind of like a boot, and meet three great Florentine men, Dante Alighieri, Niccolo Machiavelli, and Leonardo da Vinci. Answer the final question in this Ed puzzle. Be certain to mark your due now as turned in, and then turn on your camera so I know you're ready to start.